Let's begin with the history of drama. In that particular part, modern theatre, we discuss here a modern theatre with its pictures from stage, its actresses taking the female part, its movable scenery designed to create a visual image of the local and each scenes, and its artificial light was developed in during the restoration period. In modern theatres, the female take the part and theatre with picture frame stage, movable sceneries there and visual image, and have the artificial light has developed in restoration period. तर मॉडर्न थिएटरमध्ये वेगवेगळे पिक्चर्स हे फेमस होऊ लागले स्टेजवरती. तसंच फिमेल ह्या ॲक्ट्रेसचं पार्ट करू लागलेत आणि तसंच व्हिज्युअल इमेज, आर्टिफिशियल लाईट हे सुद्धा रेस्टोरेशन पिरियडपासून चालू झालं होतं. देअर इज अ क्लिअर इन्फ्लुएन्स ऑफ फ्रान्स इन थिएटर ऑडियन्स अँड द थीम. There in the France, they have the greater kind of influence on the audience about that theme. तर जास्तीत जास्त प्रमाणात त्या फ्रान्समध्ये थिएटर्स जास्त प्रमाणात त्या लोकांनी दाद दिलेली होती. The drama of the early 19th century was on the whole on the way, was declined because of many causes. The theater was home mainly to irregular spectacles, melodrama, and force. So, in 19th centuries, the whole declined and because of many causes. Theatre was a home mainly irregular, spectacular, and melodrama's force. A simple external reason can be found in monoply held by the two houses, convert the garden by the Drury Lane for perform a serious drama. Convert Garden and Drury Lane has to be perform the serious drama in has a simple external reasons. In monopoly they held that the house two house. तर कन्वर्ट गार्डनर अँड ड्युरी लेन्स यांनी सिरियस ड्रामा परफॉर्म्स केलेत आणि द ऑडियन्स विच गॅदर्ड टू द 19th century theatre had not the intelligence or imagination of Elizabethan audience. The danger in 19th century theatre was that above all it is unrelated to the life of that time. The changes the structure of society had so modified human personality itself that the new interpretation was essential. The audience which gathered in theatre of 19th century theatre has not so intelligent and imaginations of that particular Elizabethan audience. 19th century theatre was all about unrelated the life and time. Structure has modified personalities and new interpretation or essence. ते 19व्या शतकामध्ये भरपूर अशा गोष्टी थिएटरमध्ये बदल झाल्यात जो आपण इलिझाबेथनमधला ऑडियन्स त्याचं इमॅजिनेशन त्या सगळ्या गोष्टी तेव्हा त्या गोष्टीमध्ये बऱ्याच इंटेलिजंट इमॅजिनेशन ह्या गोष्टींना जास्त वाव दिला जात नसायचा. That is what the comparison we have to be seen here in the 19th century's theaters in that modern theater of drama. Ibsen, the great Norwegian dramatist of 19th century, dominates the modern drama. He developed the modernist, realistic, social and psychological drama like Doll's House, Ghost and Enemy of the People. Ibsen was the great Norwegian dramatist in 19th century. He has to be dominate the modern dramas. Ibsen developed modern realistic and social psychological dramas like The Ghost, The Doll House and Enemy of the People. तर इब्सेन हा नॉर्वेजियन ड्रामॅटिस्ट होता. 19व्या शतकाने याने मॉडर्न ड्रामा जास्त प्रमाणात त्याचं जास्त काम केलं आणि त्यामध्ये त्यांनी मॉडर्नाइज्ड रिअलिस्टिक सोशल सायकोलॉजिकल याच्यावरती जास्त काम केलं. डॉल हाऊस, घोस्ट, इप्सेन ऑफ ऑल एनिमी ऑफ द पीपल हे त्याचे फेमस मॉडर्न ड्रामाज होते. दे आर far more subtle science, stagecraft, and profound in thought than anything in the modern English theatre. But it was only George Bernard Shaw who was deeply influenced and affected by Ibsen's innovation, contribution, and experimentations. So he had to be more and more work on stagecraft and profound anything in the modern English theatre. There is an George Bernard Shaw, who deeply influenced and affect Ibsen innovation, contribution and experimentation. तर इथं इब्सेनने बऱ्याच अशा गोष्टी त्यांनी मॉडर्न इंग्लिश थिएटरसाठी केल्यात आणि त्याच्यात जॉर्ज बर्नार्ड शॉ यांनी इब्सेनचे इनोव्हेशन कॉन्ट्रीब्युशनमध्ये एक्सपेरिमेंटचे जास्तीत जास्त इन्फ्लुएन्स आणि त्या गोष्टी नव्या गोष्टी त्याच्यात इम्प्लिमेंटेशनसुद्धा केल्या होत्या. He was the most playwrights of his time. He alone had understood the greatness of Ibsen, and he was determined that it was play should also the vehicle for ideas. So George Bernard Shaw is the brilliant playwright of his time, and he understood has greatness of Ibsen, and Ibsen also brilliant about writing the playwright on his time, and he determined that his own play should also a vehicle for ideas. तर इब्सेन आणि बर्नार्ड शॉ हे ब्रिलियंट प्लेराइस्ट होते आणि बर्नार्ड शॉ इब्सेनबद्दल बोलतो. इब्सेनसुद्धा बऱ्याच गोष्टी नव्या आयडिया प्लेमध्ये इम्प्लिमेंट करू शकतो याचं ते उदाहरण होतं. द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ एलिव्हेशन्स ऑफ इंग्लिश ड्रामा टू द ब्रिलियन्स ऑफ द नॉर्वेजियन fell and with Oscar Wilde and G.B. Shaw in the late 19th and early 20th century. The responsibility of in the high place of English drama and brilliance of Norwegian fell Oscar Wilde and G.B. Shaw in the period of that particular person's dramatics 19th and early 20th century. तर ड्रामाचं सगळ्यात उंचावरती नेण्यासाठी तर इब्सेन तसंच जी.बी. शॉ, ऑस्कर वाइल्ड त्यांचा जो पिरियड बघितला लेट 19th सेंचुरी अर्ली 20th सेंचुरी. 20th century shows the talent of drama with which the 19th century could not complete. H. Gravilliam Barker, John Galsworth, John Irving were the some playwrights who explored the contemporary problems. 20th century became the show the talented of the drama and in 19th century could not complete. 19th शतकात ज्या गोष्टी कंप्लीट झाल्या आणि त्या 20व्या शतकात कंप्लीट झाल्या. ग्रॅव्हलिन बार्कर, जॉन गॅल्सवर्थ, स्टूट जॉन इविथ were some playwrights who explored the contemporary problem. They had the playwright who had explored that contemporary problems and the name of that some dramatists Gravellian Bracker, John Goldsmith to Averins. John Everins has been associated with group of Ibsen dramatists whose work was normally produced in Abbey theatres in Dublin. So, John Erwin has been associated with the Irish dramatist. Sorry, that word not Ibsen. It is Irish. Irish dramatist and normally produced in Abbey Theatre in Dublin. There is one kind of the Abbey Theatres in that work John Irish in Irish dramatist. तो ॲबी थिएटर्समध्ये त्यांनी बरेच असे ड्रामा त्यांनी प्रोड्यूस केलेत आणि तो हा इरिश होता. Much that is best in modern drama in English developed from this movement. One of its originally was Lady George with W. Yeats and J. M. Sankt. They were the most important dramatists of the Irish revival who used the sense of tragic irony, violence, species of humor, and rich and highly flavored language. So that modern dramatists develop, there are many things and whose name is originality of Lady George, W. B. Yeats, James Signets, and that are the most important dramatists of Irish period and who has to be develop the sense of tragic irony, violence, species, humor, rich and high flavored language. तर सगळ्यात जास्त मॉडर्न ड्रामा डेव्हलप करण्यामध्ये या व्यक्तींचं योगदान होतं. लेडी जॉर्ज, W. B. Yeats, J. M. सिडनीज आणि त्यांनी खरं तर ट्रॅजिक आयरनी, व्हायलन्स, species of humans, rich and high flavor language, that kind of the things they have mainly uses in this dramatist. T.S. Eliot experienced with the Greek tragedy in the early 40s of the 20th century. Other dramatists of the modern era, John Osborne, wrote and people who grew up after the Second World War. T.S. Eliot, the experimental Greek tragedy in early 14th and 20th century. And other dramatists, modern era, John Osborne, wrote the people grew up the Second World War. तर T.S. एलियटांनी ट्रॅजेडी इन अर्ली 40s इन 20th सेंचुरी त्याच्याबद्दल लिहिलं आणि जॉन्स ऑबेसन यांनी सेकंड वर्ल्ड वॉरनंतर लोकांचं कशा पद्धतीने त्यांचं संरक्षण झालं ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आणि कशी वाढले ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी त्याच्यात मांडत. किंग्सली ॲमिस wrote about the frustrated anti-established young peoples. Osborne's look back in the anger brought a new vitality to the theatre scenes. Kingsley Amis mainly wrote on frustrated and anti-established young peoples, and Osborne's look back in angers and new vitality in the theatre scenes. So Kingsley Amis and particular obscurance who has to be mainly new things produced in theatre scenes. बऱ्याच अशा नवीन गोष्टी यांनी मॉडर्न थिएटरमध्ये आणून सोडल्या. It was more cultural phenomenon than the work of literature. Other important playwrights of the modern era include the Anton Chekhov, Bertolt Brecht, Eugene O'Neill, Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, Eugene Ionesco, Samuel Beckett, and Harold Pinter. So in that culture of literature, he had to work more for the literature of drama, and most important playwrights in modern era, Antony Chekhov, Bertolt Brecht, and so many others. तर ह्या कल्चरमध्ये म्हणजेच जास्तीत जास्त प्रमाणात नवीन नवीन गोष्टी इम्प्लिमेंटेशन करण्यासाठी थिएटरमध्ये खरं तर या व्यक्तींचं फार मोठं योगदान होतं. आणि त्याच्यातमध्ये मॉडर्न एरामध्ये अँटनी चेखॉव, बेर्टॉल्ट ब्रेच, युरेका ओनेल, आर्थर मिलर, टेनेसी विल्यम, युगेन्स ओएनोस्को, सॅम्युएल बगेट, हेरॉल्ड पिंटर हे सगळे व्यक्ती त्यांच्यामध्ये ड्रामा जास्तीत जास्त प्रमाणात कशा पद्धतीने चांगला आणि मॉडर्न बनेल यांचा अभ्यास करत होते. इंडियन theatre. Early seeds of modern Indian drama can be found in Sanskrit drama from the 1st centuries AD. Mahabhashya by Pandit Patanjali provides a feasible date for the beginning of theatres in India. Early seeds has to be in modern Indian drama can be found in Sanskrit. The first AD. Mahabhashya by Patanjali provides फिजिबल बिगिनिंग ऑफ द थिएटर. तर खऱ्या अर्थाने सर्वात पहिल्यांदा मॉडर्न ड्रामा संस्कृतमध्ये उदयास आल्या पहिल्या शतकामध्ये आणि त्याचे महाभाष्य पतंजली यांनी ते बिगिनिंग ऑफ द थिएटर्स इंडियामध्ये सुरुवात झाली. द मेजर सोर्सेस ऑफ एव्हिडन्स इन द ट्रीटीज ऑन थिएटर्स नाट्यशास्त्र by Bharat Muni is the most complete work in dramatology in ancient world. भारत मुनी हे ancient world मध्ये नाट्यशास्त्रावरती सगळ्या गोष्टी त्यांनी इन्व्हेंट केलेल्या आहेत. नाट्यशास्त्र द ट्रीटीज ऑफ द थिएटर इट्स गिव्ह द mythological account of the origin of theaters. Modern English drama, however, has influence from all over the world as well as Sanskrit and Urdu traditions. In that mythology's account, original theatres in modern Indian drama, however, influence all over the world as well as Sanskrit and Urdu traditions. Modern theatres हे खऱ्या अर्थाने पूर्वापार पासून उदयास होतं आणि त्याचा प्रसार जगामध्ये सगळीकडे झाला, संस्कृत आणि उर्दू ट्रेडिशनमध्ये सुद्धा. So let us all the students, today we had completed the modern theatres and Indian theatres and who had developed in which centuries. That mainly we discussed today in 19th and 20th centuries of modern theatres as well as in Indian theatre. We seen that how that drama has produced in which particular centuries and how spread in all our old, that we discuss in today's video. In history of the drama, we discuss elements of dramas also and some short history of drama, introduction to the English theatres, Elizabethan and Restoration theatres that you seen there. In element of the drama, plot, characterization, dialogue, stage direction, conflict, theme, you seen that. And also close related area focus on scene, audience, character, actors and their objective also you have seen. Types of the drama also we discuss tragedy, comedy and tragic comedies. In comedy has romantic comedy, sentimental, classical, comedy of humor and comedy of manner. That's we just discuss. And now today's modern theatres and Indian theatres we discuss here, and there are minor things also we have to be there. So all the students, you must be read that again and again for better understanding, and also you have to be catch up the main point and write down in your notebook that will be asked in your question paper about in there is one of the questions, T.S. Eliot who had developed the tragedy in early 40s. That time your answer will be T.S. Eliot has to be develop the tragedy in 14th and 20th century. And afterwards there are many questions will be asked just like that. So you must be prepared for that. And maybe one of the questions, write down the some of the dramatists who work in 20th centuries, 19th century. At that time you have to be write down the name of H. Gravilla, Barker, Johns, Goldsworth, Stout, John Everins. So that may be when you will be right, you will be learn by your heart. तर व्यवस्थित पद्धतीने सगळ्या गोष्टी पाठ करल्यात, लिहून टाकल्यात, कोणत्या शतकामध्ये कोणत्या दशकामध्ये कोण काम करत होतं हे व्यवस्थित वहीमध्ये उतरून ठेवलं आणि ते पाठ केलं, तर मला वाटतं तुम्हाला परीक्षेत विचारले जाणारे क्वेश्चन त्यावेळेस तुम्हाला लिहिता येईल. सो ऑल स्टुडंट मस्ट बी दॅट डू दॅट सच काइंड ऑफ द make the running notes, and afterwards you have to write down in your notebook and send me in my personal number. Thank you.